everybody. I want you to watch this video, if you will. I think we've moved too far from this. And I was watching a video earlier, and a person was speaking about, how when it comes to serious matters within our internet streets, you're going to get more views on YouTube if you are geared toward entertainment and fun and shaking and dancing, hey, but not dealing with the real deal. Okay. And it's because people don't want to deal with reality, because if you look at it, it's so problematic. And then if you stop and look at it and try to improve things, you're going to have to stop, and you're going to have to think and get to accountability. It can be very challenging. So I want you to think about, was it Edward Bloom, the one who filed the lawsuit, Supreme Court, and about affirmative action to overturn that? And after that, there are a lot of the departments that were headed by African Americans, mainly women. Guess what? Chop, chop, chop off on a chopping block, gone, no longer needed. And it speaks more about that department. They didn't find them other jobs. No, they were just cut down. So not so much as read between the lines as that the department is no longer needed. You, the BC, those individuals, were no longer needed. So here, this post says Black Americans in Miami discussing how they sued and won a lawsuit against the company that wouldn't hire them because they didn't speak Spanish. So I want you to go ahead and listen to this and think about today. What are your Black politicians doing besides riding the wave? They worried about the immigrants. Your Black male leadership, Mayor Adams, Johnson in Chicago, Adams in New York. Where were they when all this was going down for people in the BC? And it's still been going down, pushed further into the back. The only fight we have, and I'm going to say this in the spirit of love because it's actually sad, the only fight that the group has collectively is to fight each other. Oh, we got that part down. Don't like what you say, I won't come for you. So stupid. You keep on coming and ain't going no hella where. Just backwards. Back to the line. So I want to know, where's the Black leadership? And let me say this before I play the video. A young Black woman, she was saying in California, I said, yeah, I still have some relatives there and have spoken with them for a while. And she was saying, hey, we left California. It's very hard to get a job, and you have to be Spanish speaking. If you're not Spanish speaking, good luck. Good luck. No wonder, you think? So I'm going to play this. I want you to hear this, and then I'm going to show you this article. So here again, we don't have this kind of fight for each other. We're so stuck on just me, me, me. Well, it ain't me, and don't know a whole lot in the group that's going to be going down. So they're discussing how they sued a company, won the lawsuit. The company wouldn't hire them because they didn't speak Spanish. Oh, this is so not us today, the majority. This is 1985. 1985. But here you go, check it out.
Were you told point blank that you couldn't have the job because you couldn't speak Spanish?
Yes. His words were not directly, but most of his words were that he couldn't place us because we wouldn't be able to communicate with the other employees.
All of whom were
Spanish. And I said, you don't need to speak or communicate with the other employees because you're on the floor by yourself. He said, but all the supervisors spoke Spanish too, and we needed to communicate with them. I feel like if I want to learn Spanish to be able to compete with them, then I think I should be able to do that on my own. I don't think you and no one else should be able to tell me that I have to have Spanish. Not in my country.
Yeah, this is America. They forget. This is not Castro's Cuba.
Now, if
I don't mind them. I think they should come over and learn our language. And then if they do have the both languages, that's better for them in the job market. Don't tell us we have to speak your language in order to keep a job here in America. That doesn't make sense.
The sisters took to the law and won in a ruling that may trigger other challenges like it. A Dade County board said the ability to speak Spanish cannot be a job requirement for cleaning. As so often happens in the human conflicts over immigration, someone lost the job Beverly Barnes won. She says this troubles her yet, but that something personal and important to her was at stake.
Christmas was coming up. I was saving for a home. I wasn't getting my kids anything for Christmas because we were saving for a home. And that second job meant something. It meant I would at least get one gift if I didn't get anything else. And that was important. But they offered me the Christmas money now if I dropped the case.
Yeah.
They did.
Oh, yes.
They offered to settle.
Yeah, like we wanted just some money. That's what we thought it was. That's how we felt. They want to offer us money to just keep us quiet.
Some employers have told us that immigrants will take jobs native-born Americans don't want. That this is the kind of work that they cannot get native-born Americans to take.
Such as
Cleaning.
I do that.
Cleaning the toilet. Then again, sometimes I feel like they would take less pay.
Yeah. And I think that is the main thing. That is the main thing. Now, look at this. I think that is so the main thing. Now, look at this. Back to the girl, the conversation in California. Report casts shadows on the economic picture for Black Californians. And that's why I brought this up, because she was like, you can't get a job. You have to be bilingual. You can't. Wow. So I said, I've heard about a lot of Black people moving from California to other states, Georgia. She's like, oh, yeah, that's why. That's why they moved from there. So quick read, it says, economic downturn. Recent studies suggest that the economic picture for Black Californians is not looking rosy. Increasingly, the state is becoming more unaffordable for African Americans, leading many families to relocate to less expensive places, both within and outside of the borders of the Golden State. After pandemic era declines, California's poverty rate is on the rise. Expansions to safety net programs during the pandemic reduced poverty substantially, but these expansions had mostly expired by the end of 2022. Reads a report published by the Public Policy Institute of California, PPIC, on October 24th. For Black Californians, the poverty rate at 13.6% is more than double the percentage of African Americans living in California, which currently stands at about 5.8% of the state's population of nearly 40,000. So the poverty rate is 13.6%, but the population rate is 5.8%. Wow, more than double. While economic growth throughout 2022 counters some of these program losses by boosting family resources from work, the state's overall poverty rate increased from 11.7% in fall 2021 to 13.2% in early 2023, the PPIC report continued. The unemployment numbers for Black Californians also remain high and continue to climb. So here's the deal. You have some of these jobs here. Again, what is the Black Caucus doing besides talking and showing up and getting paid for a check? What are you doing? What's going on? What are we getting in return for the vote? And I know they'll want to stump you down. Ooh, they will stump you if you don't vote for Blow. I'm just saying. But what are we getting? Edward Bloom filed that lawsuit and won. But here's the thing about it. It wasn't the first time. He tried before. It didn't work. Only this time he put the Asians out front and won. So I want to find out, aside from worrying about the latest dances and the hairdos and what she's doing, what Drake doing, and all of this and that, and entertainment, the economy, people are suffering in silence. People are doing bad. You said anything? Well, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. For some of those hollering about you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. Let's see what. Let's hope and pray your time doesn't come. They shouldn't have did this. They shouldn't have did that. Oh, because it's going okay for you. I hope it continues. Because guess what? Some of the same ones that people are saying, well, they shouldn't have. And I understand some people kind of live beyond their means. I get it. But I'm like, wow. In this group, a lot of times there is always a but. There's no sympathy. Let's hope and pray that little piece of job you got holds on. Let's hope and pray. Again, I know people vacation in Dubai, nothing. Now working for hourly wages. Now when you vacation in Dubai, never saw it coming. Well, stop and think. If you got some jobs and they want you to be bilingual, you won't be able to even get that with your college degree. Won't be able to even get that. So I want to find out. We can put the money together, make everybody else rich. Who's going to challenge this? Again, that's in one state. She's like, oh, yeah, you have to be bilingual or you really can't get a job. That's why we moved. And I said, yeah, I've heard that. So what do you think happened with the new influx? What do you think is going to happen with the new influx? You can get to the point, especially in this economy, people sometimes can't even afford to move. I think somebody said that somebody might be squeezed out, or better yet, starved out. And look, it's not just for the BC, that's for all Americans. Everybody and their mother's hollering now about can't afford to live life, can't afford to rent, can't afford a new apartment, couldn't afford my lease, and can't afford to find a new lease. Sure as heck can't afford a house. So who's here to challenge this? What's going to be the solution? But I know it's not that important. We're not worried about that. And then until something happens, and then we're like, I can't believe that. I can't believe. What are we going to do? Seriously, besides fighting each other, who's fighting for us? We're good at fighting each other. People do bad. We have no sympathy. We want to, oh, well, that's them. All we know is we got $50 or 50,000 until Friday, and then little something happen, that little $50 or 50,000 gonna be gone just like that. As long as I'm good. Issues like this, what are the politicians doing? For the Americans, this happens a whole lot. What are the politicians doing? Because see, the people that will be subjected to this on the other end of this, guess what? They're not going to be. It's not going to affect wealthy people. So let me guess, they're not concerned. They're not concerned. It's the ones at the bottom. One of my associates' friend said, I was like, oh my goodness, about poor people, and that person is rich. The person said, oh, those people, they were already at the bottom. So the least little thing they were going, they're already at the bottom. So least little thing, they'll just miss a few checks and end up homeless. Like it was, basically like, hey, it's nothing. Hey, they were at the bottom, anyway. So, that right there, they're already at the bottom. I was like, wow, okay, hard to go over there. Like, really? But it's things like this here that's just in California. You have a new flux of peeps. Dr. Claude Anderson been done told us, but nobody was listening. He'd been speaking this for decades, and now it's here. And we helped get him here by the decision that we made. But in the meantime, in between time, what are we going to do? May sit back and talk about it, but like I said, this right here, it's not a fun video, and this is about reality. And we don't see it until a lot of times it's in our face, until it's you getting walked out with your box. When it's you, I want to log in, it can't log in, working remote. Oh, the job don't want you no more. This right here in America, and there are some jobs you won't be able to get because you don't speak Spanish. You're not bilingual, but they don't came here illegally. I tell you, talk about, and how dare some of these people commit crimes? You licking a gift horse in the mouth. You just showed up here and they have laid the world at your feet. Here you go. $9,000. Wow. We can't even get a reparations check. $9,000. Wow. Free health insurance, place to live, hotel. Wow. Work permit. We're going to see how the work permit's going to turn out. And guess what? It's not just in large cities. They're now, as I'm hearing, easing them into small towns. Becky Boo and Dan, it's going to affect you too. Only thing is, you may have a better chance because some of them have an allegiance to their own culture. But see, the trick is they will come here and they will work less. And life is business. A business owner, a company is about that bottom line, making a profit. I think what we're about to see, it's not going to take 5 years. I think next year, seriously, by the end of 2025, you're going to see a landscape and it's not going to be so pretty. It's not going to be a nice manicured lawn. It's going to really have an effect. I think we're getting a pretty good picture now, but don't forget, even with all we're encountering, job losses and layoffs and can't find the job and people can't afford the mortgage, can't afford the rent. This is like the beginning cycle, and I already see it as a nightmare. So stop and think, 2025, by the end of 2025, I think by the end of this year, we're going to see the landscape is changing drastically. And all Americans, unless you're wealthy, you're pretty much losing. It doesn't make any sense that the middle class can afford to find a place to live. This with the insurance industry, I think it's highway robbery. That's my opinion. And don't forget, they have to get permission from the state. Now, all of a sudden, all these people are getting all these assessments on these condos, not just the HOA going up. Oh, yeah, the HOA is going up. And yeah, we're going to have an assessment. And an assessment, let's just say, for some who are not sure, let's say you have a condo, and let's say, oh my goodness, you're insuring your contents, okay? Now, I'm not the expert, but just give me what I know. So let's just say, for example, besides upgrades, you can have a major storm and they can say, oh my gosh, this condo, we have got to get a new roof, not a patch job. Got to get a new roof, okay? Everybody can be assessed. Any kind of repairs, you can easily be assessed $2,000. I remember, and this was 10 years ago in Palm Beach, having a condo. Man, the condo, we didn't have sidewalks, baby. They had slabs of like slate. It was just gorgeous. Okay, you would find those they would have those workers um even dusting the baseboards in the building, dusting the baseboards, vacuum cleaners, everything. So this place, it was very well kept up. Oh, are you kidding? Beautiful place. Well, 10 years ago now, guess what happened? The HOA decided to replace the carpets. And it's like the carpets are fine. Are you in this building again? Crown molding even down the hall. I would see those girls dusting the crown molding, the baseboards, the whole 9 yards. I mean, seriously, just everything. Beautiful place to live. The HOA decided to go ahead and change the carpet. Everybody, and this was like I said 10 years ago. Everybody was assessed a one-time fee of like what, between what was it, $500 or $600, somewhere in there. It was like, okay, so it's for the carpet, a one-time fee for that. Okay, so that's the assessment. Let's say something happens to the building, need to have upgrades, or it's a roofing issue, especially upgrades. That's when it comes big money. They can easily tell you, okay, we're going to need an assessment of a couple $1,000. Plus, you still have to pay for the condo if it's not paid for, and your HOA. That's on top of that. You've probably seen in Miami, they were like, it was crazy, $35,000. That seems like a ripoff to me. But yeah, so an assessment. They're coming now with these assessments. Well, the people can't afford them. You know what's going to happen. If you can try to work out a deal. If not, if it's not paid, then I don't care. I still have to pay the bank. They'll get you up out of there. You lose your place. My point is, nobody is safe. It's like, wow, this is a hell of a time for an assessment to come with all these layoffs. But I don't care. You can lose it. And the HOA will take it and you will leave. But it's not paid off. You will still lose it. It's part of the guidelines. The HOA will take that condo and you will be out if you can't pay the assessment. So the landscape is changing. And some people, they're fine as long as they're doing okay for today, engaging in trivial matter. But I want to know, and this is just California, I've heard of jobs have to be bilingual. Is there any way to challenge it? Is it? And if it is, who's going to do it? This is America, so you can come here, we had to learn English. I mean, we're born there, but you know what I'm saying? Come here, don't speak the language, and then you look up the American. Don't forget, they're using our tax dollars to get them all settled, feed them, and house them. You're welcome. Free health insurance, you're welcome. And they can turn around and get a job over in America because guess what? Well, the American doesn't speak English, doesn't speak Spanish. No, honey, you need to speak some English. It's ridiculous. So, in closing, I will say you see the numbers here reported for California. Economic downturn. Oh, it's really about to be one for everybody. Unless you're wealthy, we're all subjected to it. But you look at these numbers, 13.6% is the poverty rate. But in the state, we only make up 5.8% of the state's population. And it's going to continue to climb. Hence, somebody's net worth reaching zero by 2050. Newsflash, it won't take that long. Anyway, let me know what you all think. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and share them out.